Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our autumnal oasis that we have set up here. What we have is a little show for you today. What we're going to do is we're going to take this hammock and we're going to load it with some pumpkins. And we're going to see how far we can get. We have just surpassed the weight in one pumpkin of a small baby. One pumpkin. This brings us above our second marker, which is 25 pounds. Well above it, which is equal roughly to, give or take a bit, 3 geese. And this is, what we have here is roughly equal to about $200 in quarters, the weight of that. 60 pounds, sorry, I'm not good with math. I'm just the pretty face of the operation, if you can believe that. 70, I'm getting it, This brings us up to 82 pounds of pumpkins in our hammock. This is 93 pounds. This is equal roughly to a Segway. So, you know, those folks that ride around on those silly little things, you could have the weight of a Segway, or you could have the weight of 7 pumpkins. It's your call. 107 pounds, past 117 pounds, which is, as you may or may not know, the average weight of a fashion mall. This brings us up to 133, which you may or may not be aware, has surpassed the weight of Honey Boo Boo, which is 125 pounds. This brings us to 144. As you can see, this hammock is seriously starting to dip. All right, this brings us up to 160 pounds, which is just over a full-grown Great Dane, or alternatively, 79 Great Dane puppies. 175. I love pumpkins. This brings us up to 207, which is just over the average weight of a newborn elephant. If we were doing this with peanuts, it would be substantially harder because the gaps are a little bit large for that. This brings us up to 222. Really beginning to see the real credits of this hammock, the structural integrity of the weave coming through. Brings us up to 235, which we have just surpassed the weight of the infamous Clubber Lang.
But I pity the fool.
Brings us up to 254, which is over the weight of the average linebacker in the NFL. So when you do your fantasy league, just know you could have that star linebacker, or you could have these pumpkins. Gonna put another one right over here to kind of balance it out a little bit. Yeah, we're cooking now. 280. Brings us up to 280 pounds. This brings us to 297. 297 pounds, ladies and gentlemen, which happens to be the combined weight of Kim Kardashian and Kanye West.
Shut up.
All right. This is like the reverse of Jenga, but with pumpkins. As you can see, we're gonna have to start getting a little bit creative in our placement of our pumpkins. 347 pounds, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Still loading pumpkins onto this hammock. I don't know if you've been really watching the news as of late or in the past few months, but there was a shipment of pumpkins and squash, which happened to find that same amount of weight, that same 360 pounds in cocaine was found in that shipment, valued at over $6 million. So, but I'd take the pumpkins over the cocaine. As I mentioned earlier, that 25 pounds is equal to 3 geese. Those of you that actually know how to do mathematics would realize that 375 pounds is 45 geese. 393 pounds brings us up to 405 pounds. Now this is equal to the weight of roughly 1 brown bear, or, as mentioned earlier, it's the combined weight of a newborn elephant and 2 Segways. 423 pounds. Now I imagine most of you watching this at home, if you decided to take bets on how far we would go, most of you have most likely lost by now. But my condolences. I believe it goes, haters gonna hate, hate, hate. I believe that's how it goes. 449 pounds, ladies and gentlemen. Closing in. This brings us up to 464 pounds. Getting a little bit a little bit dicey in terms of how we place it at this point. In hindsight, I may have loaded it a little bit too far this way. But luckily, I have his help in supporting this large mass of pumpkin. Now, fun fact, if these were, now these are carving pumpkins, but if they were cooking pumpkins, like the sweeter version, you could make well over 1,200 pies. Wow! Out of these pumpkins, 477 pounds. Most of the crew here laughed at what I just said. I'm not sure if they believe me or not, but that's a true fact. I looked it up, and I did math. So, this brings us to a most momentous occasion, the surpassing of 500 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure if this has ever been done before. We are entering into uncharted territory. Who knows what could happen at this point? It's a new experience for everyone. Even myself, a pumpkin stacking veteran. Now, another note, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are well past, when I mean past, I mean well past, our designated weight limit for this hammock, which is stated at 450 pounds. With this one right here, we will be 103 pounds over stated capacity. Now, I'm not exactly saying you should try this at home in terms of weight on the hammock, but just letting you know it can do it. Don't try this at home. Now, since we've run out of pumpkins, we're going to start cannibalizing our display just to see if it can hold it. So we're going to grab the remaining pumpkins off the display surrounding the pergola and this hammock, and we'll see what we can do with these. This brings us to a grand total 583 pounds of pumpkins in a hammock.
I first of all want to thank all of you who were involved in making this possible.
Now, my detractors may have asked me, JT, why are you doing this? What's the point? And I say to them, haters gonna hate, hate, hate. Thank you. Good night, and good luck. I would not wish this on anyone.